Hey guys, how you guys doing today? It's Jay Lee. I'm bringing you guys a new video, and today I want to talk to you guys about something that has always been a topic of conversation with Destiny, and that is the story. I think there have been a lot of issues with that. I mean, if you start with vanilla Destiny, I think that one of the biggest problems that the game had was that there was not really a backstory in the game. We got put into this universe of Destiny, and we were never told like why were we here, what is the main goal of us, why we were chosen to be guardians. Like, we just got put in a scenario where basically they told us, hey, you know what, you're a guardian and you gotta fight the darkness because they're bad. And that is a weak scenario for a story to be built on.
Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian.
Ah, what are you?
I'm a ghost. Well, now I'm your ghost.
What?
You've been dead a long time.
What the hell does that mean?
So you're going to see a lot of things you won't understand.
No kidding, where am I?
This is old Russia on Earth.
What? How did I get to Russia? How long was I dead?
Well,
And how did you bring me back to life?
we don't have time to...
What are you?
Wake up, Guardian.
What's up?
You've been dead a long time and we have to go.
Okay.
One of the biggest jokes around Destiny is the fact that in the first mission, when you go back and speak to the speaker, he tells you that, oh, there's all these great stories that can tell you about wars that were fought before you, and that would explain like why we find the darkness. But yeah, right now we don't have time, so we're not gonna get into that.
I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago. How the traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the darkness, its ancient enemy.
Do it!
There are many
Just do it!
told throughout the
So I feel like vanilla Destiny never had a backstory. Add to the fact that there were also not that many characters developed. I mean, you had characters like the Speaker, Savala, Ikora, even K6. Characters that were basically playing the role of just sending you missions. Never kinda had a connection between you and the characters. And then when you had good characters like the Queen and her brother, or even this mysterious person that shows up, that kinda seems like it's gonna go somewhere where the story is gonna take you and you're gonna, in a way, I will say, help her out, or she's gonna help you out. But then the story never connects with those characters. I kind of feel like those characters, and maybe in one old version of the game, they had a bigger role. I mean, you cannot tell me that this mysterious person shows up in like 3 cutscenes and it's the only character you kind of see when you're out there fighting, because most of the other characters you only see them where you either go to the tower. But yeah, this is a character that you finally see and that shows up while you're fighting and basically just never comes back in this story. That to me, that feels like that was just a character that was left behind for another version of the game.
Strong ones. But you made it here. Yes, I'm listening. They are here. With me.
Who's she talking to?
Understood. You need my help, Guardian.
Is that why you brought us here?
They brought us here. The Vex. Evil so dark it despises other evil.
And that is really how vanilla Destiny feels. I feel like there was too many versions of the game put together, and there was not really, I would say, a set goal or what he wanted to tell in that story. I mean, when you look back at vanilla Destiny now, that kind of feels like another side story. Also, the fact that the story doesn't connect with the end game, which is the raid, I think that is also another big problem. I mean, if you ask anyone that just finished the missions, if you ask them what enemy are we going to be fighting on the raid, I feel like no one would have known that we were going to be fighting Atheon. And I think that is another big problem, the fact that the biggest enemy in the game kind of doesn't have a personality. I mean, we never heard Atheon say one word, so I feel like that was another problem with the game as well. Also, I feel like all of the DLCs never connected with the story. I mean, you had Atheon, and then out of nowhere we got the Dark Below, and then we had Crota, and that never connected with anything that had to do with Atheon. During the Dark Below, I felt like we had the same problems as vanilla Destiny. We never really connected with more characters. Even Ares, that was like this mysterious person that we had now, we never really got a cutscene that might help connect with her. The positive from the Dark Below was the fact that finally, I would say, Bungie connected the end game with the story. That kind of gave a sense of progression with the story of you start with the enemy of Crota, then at the end you fight him, and not just getting a random enemy at the raid. Then after that we got the House of Wolves, and I feel like the House of Wolves was really weak as far as story goes. Again, the game doesn't give us a continuation from Crota or from Atheon. It's just another side story that we got. I feel like the thing that kind of saved this DLC maybe was the fact that the Queen was a really good character, but even with that, I feel like there were not enough cutscenes with her. Also, they had this other character on Barracks that I feel that role could have been played better by the Queen's brother, where we already knew him, and maybe through him we could have learned maybe more about the Queen. But we get Barracks, and that I feel that they could have done also a better job of giving us a story of why he's helping us, him being a fallen. If they would have spent more time with that side of the story, I feel that maybe we could have related to the character, and that also could help out the story. And then we got the Taken King. Now, the Taken King for me was by far the best DLC that we had for a lot of reasons, and I feel the story wise was definitely also by far the best. And the reason for that is because we kind of had a background for this story. Like, we finally connect with another DLC that was Dark Below, where we killed Crota, and now Oryx is coming back for revenge because we killed her son. And I feel that the fact that we knew and we kind of had a reason for Oryx to come to the story, that really helped the story out. After that, we also learn about what does it mean to be a Titan, what does it mean to be a Warlock, what does it mean to be a Hunter. Characters are also more relatable, characters kind of grow as a character. Also, the end game connected with the story as well, where we knew that Oryx was going to be our main enemy, and that is who we fought at the end of the raid. That is another plus for the story. So altogether, the Taken King was by far the best DLC. And at the time, I was really excited because I felt that, okay, Bungie finally learned like how to basically tell us somewhat of a story in this game, and maybe the next DLC was even going to be better. But then with the Rise of Iron, I felt that Destiny took steps backwards instead of going forward. I mean, again, we have another side story with the House of Devils, where again we don't connect the end game with the story. I mean, at the story we find the House of Devils, but then again at the end of the raid we find Naxxis that was never talked about in the story. So that was another issue. They were told that, oh, there's this other guy, the Mag, take control of the House of Devils now, so we gotta destroy him as well, which I feels like more like a strike in the raid as far as story goes. In the Taken King, Bungie did a good job developing, I would say, more interesting to the characters, but with the Rise of Iron that really didn't happen. I feel like K6 had a good role, but that was more because of who he was already before the Rise of Iron came out. The story kind of focused on Lord Shaxx, and I guess they did a good job on that, but again, I feel like there were more characters that could have been used in this story, and that is really the end of basically Destiny 1 as far as story goes. Now, from all of that, what I really take about Destiny 1, and I would say my biggest issue with the story goes, is that we don't know what the main story is. Like, if you ask anyone, like, what is the main character as far as Destiny, we don't know which the main character really is. Is it us, the Guardians? Is it the Traveler? Is it the Speaker? Is Zavala and K6? Like, we don't know really what the main story of the game is. The fact that we don't really know like what is the main story of the game, I feel like that is a big problem. And I get the fact that some DLCs might take a role of just telling a side story. I don't have a problem with that. I feel that that can honestly happen in the game, where maybe you want to take a break for the main story and tell this other side story that maybe help out develop some other characters. But I feel that the problem with Destiny is that we never got a main story to build on. The main story that we got in Vanilla Destiny was too weak. It had too many holes. It didn't answer enough questions for us to just keep building on that. And I credit a lot of this to the fact that they did lose one of the main writers for the game, and I think that is the reason why a lot of the characters on Vanilla Destiny seem to disappear throughout the game, and that leaves us with all of these side stories and DLCs that kind of don't have a main story that can connect all of them together. But I do see a light at the end of the tunnel with Destiny 2. I mean, to start with, the raid is not even out yet, and we kind of already know where the main story of the game is going, where we're gonna be fighting back to try to get the Light of the Travelers back to us. Also, we have a main enemy on Gary, and they're doing a good job on one, giving the character a personality and giving a meaning behind why he's in the story. They're also working on developing characters with like Korra, Zavala, and K6, where those characters seems to be going through this story of trying to find a meaning of what does it mean to be a guardian. So that is similar to like what the Taken King was, where we had a good character development, we had a meaning behind the enemy, he had a good personality. Obviously, I feel like the Destiny 2 story has to be longer than the Taken King because it's not a DLC, it's a full game. But if they follow the other direction in Destiny 2, I feel like that can lead to a really good story. So yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please leave a like. If you guys subscribe to the channel, that means a lot to me. I hope you guys have a great day guys. Take care guys. Peace.